Hello, everyone. I hope you're doing absolutely great today. There's something I've been thinking about lately. How so many people want to speak English confidently and understand native speakers clearly, but still struggle no matter how long they've been learning. I've seen it so many times. People spend years studying grammar, reading books, memorizing vocabulary, and yet, when it comes to actually listening to real conversations or speaking fluently, everything just freezes. It's like your brain knows the words, but your mouth doesn't cooperate. Sounds familiar, right? I used to face the same thing myself. Back when I moved to California for college, I thought my English was strong. I could write essays, read newspapers, and understand some TV shows. But the first time I tried talking to my classmates, I realized, oh man, this is a whole new world. They were speaking so fast, using expressions I'd never heard in any textbook. I smiled, nodded, pretended to understand. But inside, I felt completely lost. And that moment changed everything for me. So, in this video, I want to share with you everything I've learned. The real, practical, tested ways to improve your English listening and speaking skills fast. I'm not talking about boring theory or complicated grammar lessons. I'm talking about what actually works in the real world. Techniques that helped me and that now help my students all across the United States. From New York to Texas, from Seattle to Miami. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly how to train your ears to understand native speakers naturally and how to speak fluently without translating in your head. But before we begin, I have two quick questions for you, and I want you to answer them in the comments, okay? First, what's the biggest problem you face when listening to English speakers? Is it the speed, the accent, or the vocabulary? And second, when you speak English, what makes you nervous? Fear of mistakes or fear of being judged? Drop your answers below because I really want to know your story. All right, let's get started. Part 1. Understand the real problem. You see, improving your English listening and speaking fast isn't about learning more words or reading more grammar books. It's about understanding how language works in your brain. Think of it like music. When you listen to a song over and over, your brain starts catching the rhythm, tone, and melody, even if you don't understand every single word. That's exactly how native speakers learn their language, through sound, rhythm, and context. But many learners make one big mistake. They learn English only with their eyes, not their ears. They read and write, but they don't listen and speak. That's why, when someone talks fast, your brain can't connect the written word to the spoken one. For example, when Americans say, "What do you do?" it actually means, "What do you do?" But if you've only seen the written form, your brain won't recognize it in speech. So step 1 is stop learning English with only your eyes. Start learning it with your ears and your mouth. You have to train them like muscles, daily, consistently, and naturally. Part 2. Train your listening the smart way. Let's talk about listening first, because that's the foundation. If you can't understand what others are saying, you won't be able to respond confidently. When I was in Los Angeles, I met a friend named Marcus. He was from Brazil, and his English improved unbelievably fast. One day I asked him, "Dude, how did you do it?" He smiled and said, "I stopped studying English, and I started living in English." That line hit me hard. Here's what he meant. He didn't rely only on English classes. He surrounded himself with English sounds all day. He listened to American podcasts while cooking, watched Netflix shows without subtitles, listened to English songs while driving, and even changed his phone language to English. Slowly, his ears started to adapt to the sound of natural speech, to accents, connected words, and tone. So if you want to improve your listening fast, follow these steps. Listen every single day. Make English a part of your lifestyle. Use real content. Watch American YouTubers, listen to English podcasts, or shows like Friends, The Office, or How I Met Your Mother. Don't worry about understanding everything. At first, just get used to the sound. Then, start catching key words and phrases. Repeat what you hear. Shadowing is a powerful technique. Play a short sentence, pause, and repeat it exactly as you heard it. Try to copy the tone, rhythm, and pronunciation. When you do this daily, your brain starts recognizing English as a natural rhythm instead of a collection of separate words. You begin to feel the language. Part 3. Speak like a native. The natural way now. Let's talk about speaking. Most people think they need to learn thousands of words before they can speak. But that's not true. Speaking is not about vocabulary. It's about confidence, rhythm, and clarity. When I first started practicing speaking, I did it wrong. I waited until my grammar was perfect. I wanted to sound correct. But that made me nervous and robotic. Then one day, I was sitting in a coffee shop in Austin, Texas, and a friendly old man said, "You know, kid, people don't care about your accent. They care about your energy." That sentence changed everything for me. So, how can you speak English fluently and naturally? Start speaking from day one. Don't wait until you're ready. You'll never be 100% ready. Talk to yourself. Record your voice. Describe what you're doing. For example, I'm making coffee. I'm going to the store. Think in English. Stop translating from your native language. It slows you down. Use simple English thoughts for your daily life. Instead of thinking, "I need to go to the shop," in your native language, think it directly in English. Use mirror practice. Stand in front of a mirror and talk about any topic. Watch your mouth, your expression, your body language. Join English communities online. Platforms like Reddit, Discord, or even local meetups in cities like Chicago, Boston, or San Francisco have groups for English learners. Don't fear mistakes. Every time you make one, you're learning. Remember, even native speakers make mistakes all the time. The faster you start speaking, the faster your confidence grows. Part 4. Connect listening and speaking together. Here's the secret that most learners miss. Listening and speaking are two sides of the same coin. You can't improve one without the other. When you listen actively and then imitate what you hear, your mouth learns to move in new ways. English has sounds that might not exist in your language, so repeating what you hear helps your muscles remember them. Try this. Choose a short YouTube clip or podcast. Maybe something like a TED Talk or a movie scene. Listen carefully. Then repeat exactly what you hear. Copy the tone, pause, emotion. Everything. This is called shadowing practice, and it's one of the most powerful techniques used by actors and interpreters. Do it for just 10 to 15 minutes daily, and within weeks, you'll notice your pronunciation, accent, and rhythm changing dramatically. Part 5. Create an English environment around you. You don't have to live in the United States to speak like someone from there. You can create an English environment wherever you are. Here's how. Change your phone and social media to English. Follow English-speaking influencers. Write your shopping list in English. Talk to yourself out loud while driving or walking. When you surround yourself with English 24/7, your brain has no choice but to adapt. Even small things help. When you're cooking, say, "I'm cutting the vegetables," or The water is boiling. This kind of self-talk builds automatic fluency. Part 6. The power of listening to real people. Listening to podcasts or TV shows is great, but if you really want to grow fast, listen to real people. Go outside and talk to locals, maybe at a park, a coffee shop, or even a grocery store in New York or Florida. Americans love small talk. You can start with simple questions like, "Hey, how's your day going?" Or, "I like your jacket." Small interactions build big confidence. And remember, no one expects you to be perfect. People actually admire your effort to speak another language. Part 7. Mindset. The hidden key. Here's something most learners ignore. Your mindset. If you're afraid of mistakes, your brain shuts down. If you constantly compare yourself to others, you stop growing. But if you see English as a fun challenge, you'll improve faster than you can imagine. I remember once, while working in a cafe in San Diego, a customer complimented me on my English. I told her, "Thank you, but I still make so many mistakes." She smiled and said, "That's okay, honey. Confidence is better than perfection." That stuck with me forever. So repeat this to yourself. I don't need to be perfect. I just need to be clear, confident, and consistent. Part 8. Build a daily routine. If you truly want to improve fast, you need structure. Here's a simple but powerful daily routine you can follow. Morning, 15 minutes. Listen to an English podcast or YouTube video. Afternoon, 15 minutes. Repeat or shadow what you heard. Evening, 20 minutes. Talk to yourself or a friend in English about your day. That's less than 1 hour a day, but if you do it every day, your progress will surprise you in 1 month. Part 9. Bonus tips for fast progress. Record your voice every week and listen to your improvement. Read out loud. It connects your eyes, ears, and mouth. Use subtitles in English, not your native language. You know, when I first started living in the United States, in a small apartment near downtown Los Angeles, I had no idea how different real English was from what I'd learned in books. Back in my home country, I'd spent years studying grammar rules, vocabulary lists, and exam patterns. I thought I was prepared. But the very first morning I stepped out to buy a cup of coffee, I realized how wrong I was. The barista at the cafe smiled and said, "Hey, how's it going? What can I get you today?" And I froze. I knew all those words individually, but when she said them quickly, my brain couldn't connect them. "How's it going?" She meant, "How is it going?" And getcha meant, "Get you." That's when I understood the real challenge. Native speakers don't talk like textbooks. They blend, shorten, connect, and change sounds constantly. So I made a promise to myself that day. I would train my ears and my mouth until English became part of my natural rhythm. Not as a subject to study, but as a habit to live with. 1. How I turned my apartment into an English learning zone. My first step was simple but powerful. I turned my little apartment into a 24/7 English zone. I labeled everything: the fridge, the table, the mirror, even my toothbrush. Everything had English words on it. It might sound funny, but it worked. Every morning when I brushed my teeth, I'd look into the mirror and say, "Good morning. Today is going to be an amazing day." Then I'd describe what I was doing like, "I'm making coffee. I'm opening the window. I'm checking the weather." This daily self-talk exercise built my speaking confidence faster than any class I'd taken before. And while I cooked breakfast, I played English podcasts. Not just language lessons, but real-life conversations. I loved listening to The Daily from the New York Times or This American Life. At first, I barely understood half of it, but I kept listening every single day. Slowly, my ears adjusted. Within a few weeks, I could catch words, then sentences, then ideas. My brain started tuning itself to English sound patterns, and that's the secret. Your brain learns languages by exposure, not by memorization. So if you're serious about improving your listening, surround yourself with English all day long. It's like living in an ocean. The more you swim in it, the stronger you get. 2. The power of shadowing. My breakthrough. Moment one evening, I discovered something that completely changed my speaking speed and pronunciation. Shadowing. I was watching a YouTube video of a motivational speaker from Chicago. He spoke with so much energy and rhythm that I couldn't stop listening. So I tried something. I played one sentence, paused it, and repeated it exactly the way he said it, copying his tone, his pace, his accent. At first, I sounded awkward. My voice felt heavy, my tongue stiff, but I kept repeating. Slowly, I started sounding smoother, more confident. I didn't just copy the words, I copied the music of the language. That night, I spent 2 hours doing it without even realizing. I was shadowing his every line. And when I spoke to a friend the next day, he said, "Hey man, your English sounds so natural today. What happened?" That's when I knew shadowing works. If you want to improve your speaking and listening at the same time, choose a video, movie, or podcast you love and shadow it every day for 10 to 15 minutes. Pretend you're the speaker. Copy everything: their pronunciation, rhythm, tone, emotion. Do it regularly, and in just a few weeks, your voice will start sounding like theirs. 3. Real-life practice. The coffee shop method. One of my favorite tricks for building real confidence is what I call the coffee shop method. When I lived in Austin, Texas, I used to visit a cafe called Blue Door Coffee. The staff there were always friendly and chatty, so I made it my practice zone. Every morning I'd order something new, but in a conversational way. Instead of just saying, "A coffee, please," I'd say, "Hey, how's your morning going? Can I get a cappuccino with oat milk, please?" Sometimes they'd ask me back, "Sure thing. You want that hot or iced?" That was my chance to respond naturally. "Let's go with iced today. It's too hot out there." It was just a small interaction, but I repeated this every day. Within a month, I was no longer scared to start conversations. That's what you need to do. Find small daily moments to speak English. Order your food in English. Ask for directions. Talk to a cashier. Even 30-second conversations build your fluency faster than weeks of silent study. And here's the best part. Americans love friendly talk. They appreciate effort. No one will laugh at you for trying. 4. Listening beyond words. Understanding emotion and tone. Listening is not just about catching words. It's about understanding emotion, rhythm, and intention. Let me give you an example. Once, while waiting at a bus stop in San Francisco, I overheard two teenagers talking. "Bro, that movie was insane." "Yeah, dude, it was fire." Now, literally, those words don't mean what they sound like. Insane means crazy, and fire is slang for amazing. But they weren't describing actual insanity or flames. They were expressing excitement. That's the magic of real English. It's full of emotion and slang. You need to listen not just to what people say, but how they say it. So when you listen to a podcast, Don't just focus on vocabulary. Listen to the feelings. When someone says, "That's awesome," hear the energy. When someone says, "Oh man," hear the disappointment. Once you start feeling the emotion behind the words, your brain connects faster. You start understanding people even when you miss a few words. That's what fluency really is. Not perfect grammar, but understanding and connection. 5. How to practice. When you're alone. Many learners tell me, "I don't have anyone to talk to. How can I practice speaking?" I always smile and say, "You don't need someone. You already have the best partner and yourself." Here's what you can do. Narrate your actions. When you cook, clean, or drive, describe what you're doing out loud. I'm turning on the stove. I'm chopping onions. I'm adding salt. Talk about your plans. Today, I'm going to call my friend. Then I'll go for a walk. Reflect on your day before bed. Today was productive. I learned new words. I spoke with confidence. 6. The airport story. Confidence in real life. Let me tell you a true story that changed how I saw communication forever. A few years ago, I was at the airport in New York, flying to Dallas. My flight got delayed, and I was standing in line at the counter. There was a woman in front of me from Mexico struggling to explain something to the staff in English. She looked nervous. I stepped forward and said, "Hey, can I help you explain it?" She smiled, a little embarrassed, but nodded. I spoke to the staff for her. Just simple sentences like, "She wants to confirm if her connecting flight is still on schedule." After it was sorted out, she said, "Thank you so much. I wish I could speak like you someday," I told her. You will. Don't wait to speak perfectly. Just start speaking. That's how I began too. Her eyes lit up with hope. And that moment reminded me that English is not about perfection. It's about connection. That's the mindset you need. When you focus on expressing, not impressing, you speak freely. 7. The magic of imitation. One of the most fun exercises I've ever done, and I still recommend it, is imitation training. Pick your favorite movie scene or YouTube personality. Maybe someone from the US whose voice you like. Watch a short clip and then try to imitate every detail. The tone, laughter, pauses, gestures. When I was learning, I used to imitate Will Smith from The Pursuit of Happiness. I'd pause the movie and repeat after him line by line. Not because I wanted to become an actor, but because it helped me feel the emotion behind the words. You see, speaking is not just about pronunciation. It's about energy. Americans use a lot of expression when they speak. Their voice goes up and down, their hands move, their face changes. When you imitate, you learn all these natural patterns. Try it for 1 week. You'll see your fluency jump like magic. 8. Build your vocabulary. Naturally, don't try to memorize hundreds of new words every day. That's not how your brain remembers language. Instead, learn phrases and collocations, words that often go together. For example, instead of memorizing take, break, and decision separately, learn the phrase, make a decision. Instead of memorizing rain and heavy, learn, it's pouring outside. Native speakers use ready-made chunks of language. And if you learn those, you'll sound natural too. Here's what I did. Every time I heard a cool phrase on TV or from a friend, I wrote it in my English journal. Then I made my own sentence using that phrase. I had phrases like, "That's a good call," meaning, "That's a good decision." "I'm running late. Let's grab lunch." These are everyday American expressions that make you sound fluent instantly. 9. Listen like a detective. Active versus passive listening. You know, one big mistake many English learners make is passive listening. They play English podcasts or YouTube videos in the background while doing other stuff, cooking, cleaning, driving, and they think they're learning. But here's the truth. Passive listening alone doesn't help much. It's like sitting next to a gym. You don't get fit just by being near the weights. You have to use them. What you really need is active listening. When you listen actively, you're fully focused. You're not just hearing sounds, you're analyzing them. Here's how to do it. Choose a short audio clip. 2 to 3 minutes is perfect. Listen once without subtitles and try to catch the main idea. Listen again with subtitles or transcripts. Note down new words or phrases. Listen one more time without reading. See how much more you understand. Finally, repeat aloud what you heard. This kind of deep listening builds what I call language reflex. It's how your brain starts predicting words, sounds, and meanings naturally. I used to do this with American podcasts when I lived in Boston. Every morning, I listened to one 3-minute story from NPR News Now. At first, I could understand maybe 60%, but after 2 weeks, I started catching 80%. After a month, 95%. That's the power of consistency. Small steps, every day, no skipping. 10. Practice in real life. Everyday American moments. Let's make this practical. Imagine you're walking through New York City. You stop at a small food cart and the guy says, "Hey, what can I get for you?" You smile and say, "Yeah, I'll take a hot dog with mustard, please." He replies, "You got it." "Anything to drink?" You respond, "Just a Coke, thanks." Boom. That's a complete natural conversation. It's short, but it builds fluency and confidence. Now imagine another situation. You're in a clothing store in Dallas. The sales assistant says, "Hey there, how's it going? Looking for anything in particular?" You could say, "Yeah, I'm looking for a casual jacket. Something light, maybe denim." These tiny moments are powerful. They're real. They're the kind of English you'll use most often. So next time you go out, grocery store, gas station, coffee shop, don't just smile silently. Say something. Even, "Hi, how are you?" or "How's your day going?" starts the practice. 11. Accent and pronunciation. Don't imitate, adapt. Many learners get obsessed with having an American accent. They think they must sound exactly like someone from Los Angeles or New York. But that's not necessary at all. The goal is clarity, not perfection. You don't have to erase your accent. You just have to make your words clear and easy to understand. Here's what helped me. Listen carefully to how native speakers connect words. For example, instead of saying, "I am going to," they say, "I'm gonna." Instead of, "Did you eat?" they say, "Did ya eat?" Try practicing these connections. They make your speech more fluid. Work on stress and rhythm. English is a rhythm-based language. Some words are stressed, others are not. For example, in the sentence, "I want to go to New York," the emphasis is on want and New York. Record your voice. This one changed everything for me. When you listen to yourself, you can actually hear what needs improvement. Maybe your speech sounds, or your pacing, or your tone. Slow down. Don't rush to sound fluent. Speak clearly, naturally, and confidently. Even native speakers don't talk fast all the time. When I worked part-time in San Francisco, my American coworkers used to tell me, "You sound so calm and clear when you speak. That's better than rushing." That's when I realized fluency is not about speed, it's about smoothness. 12. Thinking in English, the real shortcut. If there's one thing that will boost your speaking speed faster than anything else, it's this: thinking in English. Most learners translate in their head before speaking. You hear a question in English, you translate it into your language. Think of the answer, and then translate back. That's why you pause. That's why you hesitate. You have to stop that habit. Here's how I trained myself to think in English. Start small. Use simple English thoughts for your daily actions. I'm hungry. I'm late. Where's my phone? It's raining. Use English in your inner voice. When you're walking or driving, talk to yourself mentally in English. Describe what you see. The traffic is heavy. That woman is wearing a red coat. Ask yourself questions in English. What should I cook today? How's the weather? At first, it feels slow, but after a week or two, it becomes automatic. When you think in English, you speak without hesitation. That's how children learn. They don't translate. They just connect sound to meaning directly. Do the same, and you'll start speaking more naturally than ever before. 13. Motivation and mindset. The invisible engine. You know what really separates fluent speakers from stuck learners? It's not talent. It's mindset. I've met so many people in the US who came from all over the world: India, Mexico, China, Brazil, France. And they all had one thing in common. They kept going, even when it felt hard. There were days when they didn't understand anything on TV. Days when people didn't understand their accent. Days when they felt embarrassed. But they didn't quit. And that's the secret. You have to love the process. Here's what I tell my students. If you see English as a boring subject, you'll quit. But if you see it as a bridge to your dreams, to travel, to connect, to grow, you'll never stop. When I was struggling, I used to watch videos of people speaking fluently and think, that could be me. So I worked for it. Every single day. Remember, every mistake you make is not a failure. It's feedback. It's your brain learning how to do it right next time. Be proud of every word you say in English. You're building something powerful. 14. Build your personalized English plan. To improve fast, you need structure, not random effort. Here's how to create your own plan. Morning. Listen to an English podcast or watch a short YouTube video for 10 to 15 minutes. Example: The Daily, BBC Learning English, or English with Lucy. Afternoon. Practice shadowing what you listen to. Repeat the sentences, copy the rhythm. Evening. Talk to yourself about your day. Describe everything you did using simple English sentences. Weekly goal. Learn 10 new phrases, not just words. Record a 1-minute audio of yourself speaking. Listen to it and note what you can improve next time. If you follow this plan for just 30 days, you'll notice a massive difference. 15. Surround yourself with English people. The fastest learners always have one thing in common. They surround themselves with people who speak English. That doesn't mean you have to live in America. You can do this online. Join online communities, Facebook groups, Reddit threads, or language exchange apps. I met one of my best English practice partners on a Reddit forum called r/language_exchange. We used to call every evening. 15 minutes in English, 15 minutes in his language. It was fun, casual, and full of laughter. You can also join English meetups in cities like San Francisco, Miami, or Chicago. Check sites like meetup.com. You'll find groups for English learners, book clubs, or international gatherings. The more you talk to real people, the faster you grow. 16. Don't fear judgment. Everyone starts somewhere. I'll tell you something honest. When I first started speaking English in public, I was scared to death. I worried people would laugh at my mistakes or accent. But guess what? No one did. Most Americans I met were patient and supportive. They appreciated my effort. Some even said, "Wow, your English is great." Even when I knew it wasn't perfect. That's when I realized most of the fear we feel is in our own head. Once you let go of it, you become unstoppable. So here's my advice. Embrace mistakes. Every time you speak and fail, you're one step closer to success. Fluency is built on courage, not perfection. 17. Enjoy the journey learning. English should never feel like punishment. It's a journey, and every step matters. Watch movies you love, listen to songs that inspire you, read articles about your favorite topics. Sports, music, cooking, travel, whatever excites you. When learning becomes fun, your brain learns faster. That's why I always say, don't study English, live in English. 18. Final thoughts. You can do this. My friend, if you've listened all the way here, I want you to remember something powerful. You already have everything you need to become fluent. You just need time, consistency, and courage. Don't compare your journey with anyone else's. Don't measure your progress by perfection. Measure it by confidence, by how freely you can express yourself today compared to yesterday. And remember, English is not just a language. It's a key that opens doors to better jobs, new friends, travel, and global understanding. So keep going. Listen more, speak more, think more. In English. Every word you say brings you closer to fluency. And before you go, I want to remind you once again. Answer these 2 questions in the comments. What's the hardest part for you when you listen to native speakers? The speed, the accent, or the slang? When you speak English, what's the biggest fear you face? Forgetting words or being judged? I'll be reading your comments and replying personally because I truly want to help you on your journey. Thank you for spending time with me today. Keep practicing, keep believing, and remember, your English dream is closer than you think. You've got this, always.